Welcome to the premiere episode of Sheldon Cooper Presents Fun with Flags.
Hi. You know some of the ultimate advantages of programmatic advertising, but how do you actually take advantage of them in order to create a successful campaign? What happens when you are working with a smaller budget and not as much money to throw around? Are there any ways for small business marketers to excel at programmatic advertising even though the goals are so different from the big brands? With programmatic advertising, you can run campaigns to discover, analyze, and optimize your audience. This can lead to more sales, goals, and clicks at a lower cost. But there is a learning curve with programmatic. And in this video, I want to give you 5 tips on how you can save money when it comes to planning your programmatic ad campaign. But first, and we gotta do it because we're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button if you're interested in hearing more marketing hacks, and also don't forget to click the bell to be notified every time we post a new video. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and also it wouldn't hurt to like the video, so thanks in advance. And now without further ado, let's hop into the 5 tips on how to save money when it comes to programmatic advertising. Was that cool? I don't know. Tip number 1, start by setting up your programmatic advertising goals. For small businesses, finding and reaching the right customers is tough because smaller companies oftentimes just don't have the budget to build wide-reaching ad campaigns to pull in potential customers. Programmatic ad buying is a robust way of reaching your audience, but it's important to plan out your campaign before actually diving in. It's like testing the waters before you jump right in, but in this case, we don't want to protect our bodies or our lives, but our budget. So let's take a look. Now, you want to figure out what it is that you actually want to achieve with your campaign. What are your primary goals? What are your secondary goals, right? Let's take a look at some good options for programmatic ad campaigns. You might want to increase brand awareness, drive website visitors, increase your online sales, or generate leads. Cool. On to tip number 2. Consider the target audience and the type of data that you want to use. Programmatic advertising is among the most effective methods of reaching the right audience and expanding your customer base. However, it can be quite expensive, and what's more is that it's very easy to make mistakes that could cost you a lot of money completely unnecessarily. So, before setting up a campaign, you should know what your target audience looks like. This will help you narrow down your options and avoid wasting time and money trying to reach people who aren't even likely to buy your product or service anyways. The first step to having a successful programmatic campaign is to understand the different types of audiences available to you and your brand. Because when it comes to targeting, there are two major types of data available, and that is first-party and third-party data. Oh my god. First-party data is information that you have collected about your customers from your website, and it's usually very accurate and spot on. However, it takes a lot of time and effort to develop since you need a good amount of data before you can actually start to use it. Now, third-party data, on the other hand, comes from outside sources, and it's more easily and readily available. However, it tends to be less accurate than first-party data. Now, consider the target audience and the type of data that you want to use. Do you want to target based on demographics or behavior or intent? Once you figured that out, make sure that the DSP that you're using is able to reach that target audience and is integrated with the major audience providers. Cool. On to tip number 3. Get your business the attention it deserves by using contextual targeting. You can use a range of different digital marketing tactics to get the word out about your products and services. But what if you could get in front of new customers when they're already thinking about your industry? That, my friend, is the power of context. The first thing you need to do is think about who your ideal customer is. And the best way to go about it is to just make a list of websites where your ideal customer is probably hanging out. Now, what this means is that you can now run your ads on these sites in particular, which will give you customers more context rather than just showing up on random sites across the web, which your potential customers probably aren't even visiting. And tip number 4, define the parameters of the campaign. This step means refining how you want to deliver the campaign, okay? And the goal is to get as much information as possible from as few users as possible so you can spend less money on data collection. You should consider how many times you want each ad to be displayed to the user before they convert. Also try and see if there are any specific times of day or days of the week when your target audience is online, and if there are any local events which could affect the way your users interact with your ads in those areas, for example, bad weather or like sports events, etc. And tip number 5, incorporate the customer journey into your campaign goals and strategies. By understanding where each audience member is in their journey, you can determine which strategy you need to use and how. As a result, you waste less money by showing the right audiences, the right ads at the right time. That was a whole lot of rights. Let's take a look at this example. So you can see that at the top of the funnel, the tofu, we want to increase brand awareness and drive website visitors. Now moving down into the middle of the funnel, we want to generate leads and drive engagement. And the bottom of the funnel is meant to increase online sales. I know, it's a whole lot of information, and I also know that I say that in every video that we post, but it's also true every time, so just bear with me, we're almost done. Now, when it comes to planning your programmatic advertising campaign, there are just certain areas that you should consider in order to achieve the best results. We talked about number 1, knowing what you want. Okay, so before you start running your campaign, be sure that you're 100% clear about what it is that you want to achieve. If you know exactly who your target audience is and which channels will help you reach them most effectively, then the journey to conversion will be a lot smoother. Moving on, be smart with your budget, okay? You should know how much money you can allocate towards the campaign, and then try and figure out how much of that budget can be used for each channel. And last but not least, set goals. If you don't know where you're going, how will you ever get there? It's important to know which benchmarks need to be met in order to measure success, so make sure you set some realistic goals before starting a programmatic campaign. Now, if this video just sold you on wanting to try out programmatic advertising for yourself, I suggest you visit personam.io and book a free demo and planning session with one of our programmatic experts, and they will be more than happy to help you out and answer all the questions you might have. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye!